We already recorded? Oh, okay. What's going on? My name is Rob and this is my channel, but it's also part of a series called Saturday Sessions, where I sit down and I talk about issues that have affected me personally, issues that are currently affecting me, things that perhaps you're going through and you are searching YouTube for answers, advice, that kind of thing. I've been in really low places in my life and I've turned to YouTube and that's helped me personally. Last week I told a story about what it was like for me growing up without a father, without much of a family, to then going into a massive family and then building my own, having my own kids, having a partner to support, a household to support. And this week I was kind of torn. I was like, how do I follow that up? How do I make something that is going to be interesting to people who like this kind of stuff? A lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, Rob, you talk a lot, just enough now, we're good, okay. So this week I decided to talk about my experience with anxiety and living with people who also have anxiety. And now, for me personally, my anxiety has mostly come from social aspects, and it hasn't affected me half as bad as it has affected people around me. I'm still able to go out, I'm able to do my thing. I consider myself a very confident person, so when I am out and about, although I don't like being in social situations and being at parties, barbecues, big family events and stuff like that, I get along well with everybody. I try to get involved, I try to be funny, entertaining, and that's just the person that I am. However, anxiety has kind of plagued my whole life. It has affected the people that I love most. It has brought people down who I love, and it's had a massive impact. So since I was a kid, I've always been around my mum. My mum has got a lot of things that she's currently dealing with, but anxiety is one of the most prominent things. It's something that has affected her for many years, and it will undoubtedly affect her for the foreseeable future. That's a tongue twister to try and say. Ooh, ice cream. I want some. Mom! I want ice cream! My mum has a condition called agoraphobia, which in layman's terms means that she has this comfort zone, her little bubble, which is her house. And for the most part, she feels very comfortable within her house. But as soon as she's about to step outside of that bubble, anxiety affects her immensely. There are a lot of ways that she's tried pushing past it. She's got herself a driving license and cars and stuff like that to try and make her feel safer when she goes out, so that she doesn't have to deal with social environments like getting a bus or a train or even just walking down the street in public. She's taken medication to try and help her deal with the anxiety and sort of confront it with that, with therapy, with everything, but unfortunately it's still a major issue in her life. As well as my mum, my partner Yasmin has also got anxiety. Hers is a different kind though. She seems to be very health centered. So if she starts getting a very slight pain in her chest, she's going to jump to the conclusion that she's got a heart attack, and then the anxiety kicks in. She needs to take some medication, Panadol or fluoxetine or something like that. She takes it and then she's worried that the medication's going to make her worse, and then the anxiety kicks on after that, and it's just this constant repetitive cycle of trying to treat the anxiety and the symptoms while also trying to make yourself better on a long-term basis. So this video is going to cover two kind of aspects. It's going to cover the aspect of somebody who suffers with anxiety, and it's also going to cover the aspect of being around people who have anxiety, and not only how that can affect you, but how you can help them. So from the viewpoint of an anxiety sufferer, somebody who has no medical experience, somebody who just gets these symptoms, panicky and scared whenever it comes to environments that would normally be considered normal and stress-free to other people, why do we sit there and panic and think, fucking hell, I've got to go to the shop, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Oh shit, I've got to go to this party tonight, oh, my mates are going to be there, what if I look like an idiot, what if people are going to judge me, is that person looking at me, what's wrong with you? All these weird kind of things that just go crazy in your brain, and you're just like, how do I deal with that? And then when you get to these events or these things that trigger and promote your anxiety, you're then in the kind of situation where you're like, okay, well, how do I deal with this? Sometimes there's not even a trigger. Sometimes there's no reason for you to have anxiety. It's just literally, it just happens. Nothing could be going wrong. You could be sitting there having a great time. You could be enjoying yourself. You could be doing whatever you want to do. And then all of a sudden, you start getting this pain in your chest. You start getting a little bit of a cold sweat. You start kind of just feeling cold and very withdrawn. And that's the anxiety that I get. I don't know if it's the same for you. Obviously there might be quite a few people watching this. I doubt it, but you know, wishful thinking. But anxiety is very scary. it can be very nauseating and frustrating to the point where you actually get fed up and angry at yourself and your body and your mind for creating these scenarios that you don't understand. Now, there are a lot of ways of dealing with that anxiety. There is the medication route, there is seeing a doctor, getting some therapy for it, there is just simply talking to people and trying to deal with it by yourself. You can follow tips and tutorials that you see on YouTube, but ultimately anxiety is probably going to be an issue that is going to affect you for a very long time. One of my friends, Nibs, he's a professional bodybuilder, competitor, he's an amazing guy. Put a thing up on Instagram the other day and it went something like, take the thing that you're worried about, in this case something that is causing your anxiety. If there's something you can do about it, then do it. If you can go to a doctor, you can get medication, you can see somebody about it, if you can change your outfit if you're worried about it, if you can get yourself out of a situation that is causing you anxiety, then do it. Don't sit there and just endure it because you feel like it's a necessity or because you have to support somebody else. Like, just put yourself first when this happens, otherwise you know it's going to have a big effect on you. So if there is something you can do about it, then do it. If there isn't anything you can do about it, then stop worrying. Now, for a lot of things, this is kind of like, it's hit and miss, because you can't just switch it off. You can't just stop worrying about a certain thing or stop feeling anxious about a certain situation, but you can make a conscious effort to acknowledge what is going wrong, acknowledge how you're thinking, and just try to argue with yourself in a way and explain to your own mind that what you're feeling and what you're experiencing is more than likely an irrational fear or something that isn't even worthy of how you're feeling. So keep trying to get that into your head and keep trying to promote that thought process that there is nothing wrong with you, nothing is going wrong. And if there's even like a slight part in your mind that makes you feel like everything's okay, focus on that. Feed it. Feed that one little speck in the back of your head that's like, he's got a point, and just try to help yourself deal with the emotions that you're currently experiencing. Now, living with somebody else or even having just friends or family members that have anxiety is a very tricky one. My girlfriend Yasmin, for instance, she gets really bad anxiety attacks, and the way that I would deal with my anxiety, which is just keep drilling it into the back of my head that there's nothing wrong. You can't always say that to somebody else, because when you're in that state of mind, everything is wrong. I can tell you that you're not having a heart attack and just calm down and chill out, and you're sitting there going, I can feel my heart racing, I can feel it pounding out of my chest, I can feel physically this feeling that you're telling me doesn't exist. So who am I going to believe? Am I going to believe myself, or am I going to believe this person that's telling me that nothing's wrong? It can be very difficult and frustrating at times living with somebody who has anxiety. People who don't have it, or people who don't have that same type of anxiety, often can't understand what the other person is going through. To this day, after being a carer for my mother for nearly 6 years, I still can't fully apprehend what it's like for her with her agoraphobia. I don't entirely understand why it is so hard just to go to a shop or take a walk, but then she doesn't understand my kind of anxiety. With Yasmin, I'm trying to make more of a conscious effort to understand hers and to help her through it and to know different ways of calming her down and changing her mindset, and I feel like that's working. But anxiety can have a very negative impact on your relationships with people, both intimate relationships and platonic. So I think that ultimately the only way you can ever really understand somebody who has anxiety is to just be patient, try to be as understanding as you can, and even though it may sound weird, even though you may not completely get where their head is at, try to make a conscious effort to understand them, because what they're going through is a very real thing, it's a very real experience. That's my experience with anxiety, both personally and vicariously, and it is very intimidating. It's something that I'm still learning how to help myself with and other people. I've been on medication for anxiety for a very long time now, nearly 4 years I think. I started taking propranolol, 10 milligrams, that's gone up to 20. I'm at a point now where my anxiety isn't half as bad as my depression, which is another subject I'll get into at another time. So I'm now able to just take the medication whenever my anxiety gets bad, but I still, after years and years of having it, I still feel like it's a very prominent part of my life. I still feel like it's something that I do struggle with. But seeing how it affects other people around me, seeing how often Yasmin and my mum suffer from these panic attacks, these crazy, physically overwhelming experiences because of anxiety, it makes me realize that my symptoms aren't too bad. And I have so much admiration for these people who do go through some of the most severe symptoms of anxiety and they still manage to push past it. So if you have anxiety or you know somebody that does, do the best you can to support yourself and to support these other people. We live in a very crazy world. We live in a world where everybody is affected negatively by something every single day. So do the best that you can to be a positive impact, not only on your own life, but on everybody else's around you. And everybody in this world deserves an opportunity to be supported and loved. Thank you for watching today's Saturday Sessions. If you like these kind of videos, be sure to let me know because I love making them. I just feel like not a lot of people are interested in sitting down for 15-20 minutes learning or listening to something in my very monotonous kind of voice. I love your faces. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you tomorrow.